Welcome to the first BookTube club in the new year. I'm your host Jenny, and today's video is brought to you, as usual, by tea and cookies. My tea consumption over the past 2 weeks has basically quadrupled because it's slightly cold here. Then just having a good cup of tea is just so comforting. But if I keep this amount up, people might actually start thinking I'm British. Or maybe just Asian. But you know what? Let's go back to my specialty, bag it up and leave this topic and talk about books. I started off the year with Samantha Shannon's The Bone Season, which is a science fiction slash dystopian slash fantasy book. It's about a society where there are clairvoyant people and they are hunted, and our obviously clairvoyant protagonist, she's part of a crime order and she gets caught and she ends up in this weird, I would call it training camp of supernatural beings and clairvoyant humans. You know, as with any other dystopian novel, over time the onion of secrets just gets peeled back and things get revealed. Things that might smell a little bit pungent and that make you cry. Or maybe not. Personally, I really enjoyed The Bone Season. It had some flaws in it, especially when it comes to like character development, but I have to say I actually went in this book very skeptical because there's been a lot of hype around this book, calling it the next Harry Potter. No, it's not the next Harry Potter. It has nothing to do with the Harry Potter. I like it. It's solid. I don't really know where it's going yet. I guess I'll just have to read the next one and see. But right now, everything's still open. My hopes and my expectations are still there, waiting, ready to be crushed. The next book I read has gotten great reviews and has been talked about a lot, not so much on BookTube, but it's A Man Called Ove by the Swedish author Frederik Backman, and it has that typical Scandinavian sarcastic, humorous writing style. I don't know if you guys have ever read anything like that, but if you read like The 100-Year-Old Man or whatever, it's like a typical Swedish writing style, and you read it and you know that that author is from that region. I don't know why. Maybe it's the weather. Maybe it's because they don't see the sun for half the time of the year, but it's just very distinctive and it just gives the novel something kind of extra. It talks about a guy, an old guy, a grumpy guy named Ove. He's very much into order and routine. He doesn't understand why people aren't able to, you know, recycle trash or not drive into the residential area even though there's a sign clearly stating that you're not allowed to. And bit by bit, you know, you get to know him better, you get to know his past, and then you get to realize why Ove is the way he is. I thought it was a lovely and very heartwarming read. It's very obviously unexpectedly heartwarming, but in this case I didn't really mind because it's just a great pick-me-up book. Next, I read The Golden Sun by Pierce Brown, which is the sequel to Red Rising. And oh my god, that book was just so good. Thing is, Red Rising, I read that last year and I liked it, but I didn't love it. Golden Sun was basically everything that I expected out of Red Rising. It's like a Roman bloody space opera, if that doesn't convince you. I've been saying this term so often when it comes, but that's just like the most accurate thing. It's about politics and Roman military style and in space, in our solar system, and rebellion. I can't wait for the Morning Star. I want to read that book so badly. Oh, so badly. This Golden Sun, so good. And then the next book that I read actually came out on the same day as The Golden Sun, and I had to decide which book to read first. But it's Firefight by Sanderson. It's a sequel to Steelheart and the second book in the Reckoner series. Steelheart and Firefight are obviously not on like the high epic scale of a standard Sanderson fantasy novel, obviously because they're just not fantasy, they're young adult science fiction. But it lacked a little bit of the excitement, and I think it's one of the, probably the first book that I read by Sanderson which doesn't really have a big plot twist. This series isn't Sanderson's strongest series, but it's still really good. I just really love the story behind it. I love the characters behind it. I forgot how bad David was with metaphors, and it's hilarious. And the last book that I read this month is The Sleepwalker's Guide to Dancing by Mira. And what initially drew me into this book was just the beautiful cover, and I kind of just knew immediately that I would like it. It took me quite a while to pick it up, but now I have, and I say I really enjoyed this. I don't know why. It's hard to describe because this book is essentially just about this family, Indian family who immigrates to America, and it's about their lives, about the struggles that they go through, about happy moments, sad moments, life and death, and there's nothing that really like stands out, but somehow I still couldn't stop reading it. And I think it's just one of those stories which you kind of just have to let it sink in. I really don't know how to describe why I enjoyed this, which is really weird because usually you can pinpoint, I like this because this plot was epic, the characters were great. I guess the thing that I could say is just the characters, they're just so real, and I just felt so connected to the characters. That was my month. I think it was a great start into the year. Tell me what you guys read. Did you read anything good? I hope your year also started off really good. And I just can't get over these earrings. They were a birthday present and they're just so adorable. Oh my god. I wish I could eat them, but I probably shouldn't. Concluding, all I can say is thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye bye!